Hello guys, today I'm doing yet another book review. Today I'm actually reviewing a book that actually means a lot to me, book-wise. I would have never really read much fiction if it wasn't for this book, and I'll tell you now, this book I'm about to review is a complete masterpiece. It is by far one of the greatest books ever written, and I actually just reread it for the first time in 3 years actually. First time in 3 years I've actually read this. I've ever read this book. Only book I reread just because it's the first book I ever truly loved. And that book is The Gunslinger, the first in the Dark Tower series. Now I never actually finished reading the Dark Tower series. It's because the fourth book in the series, Wizard and Glass, is a terrible novel. One of the worst books I've ever read. But the first book, oh man, I just wish there was no cliffhanger just because this book is amazing. This book is everything. Not only is this one of the best, one of the best books ever written, this is the best Stephen King novel. There's no better Stephen King book than this, in my opinion. Now, yes, it does have its flaws. This was a serialized novel when it came out. This is one of Stephen King's earliest books. It came out in 1982, and so that was 8 years after Carrie came out. Carrie's his first novel. So this is just 8 years into his career. But technically he wrote the first 4 chapters in like 78, 79. So this is one of his earliest novels. And he never intended this to be an entire series originally. And as he kept writing, he realized this was going to go bigger. So he wrote a 5th chapter, slapped it on, and in 1982 he published what is now The Gunslinger. But then in the early 2000s, he wasn't pleased with the novel, so he revised and expanded it. So this is actually the revised and expanded version from around like 2001 or 2002. Around it came out before at least Wolf of the Calla came out, and I haven't read Wolves of the Calla, which is book 5. This Wizard and Glass was too awful, and it's a shame because I friggin' love The Gunslinger. It's one of the best books ever made. I'm not stressing when I say that. This is, you know what? And after rereading it, I think this is my 3rd favorite book of all time. You know what? No, screw it. It's gonna be. You know what? Screw it. It's my 3rd. It's my 3rd. The Great and Secret Show and Hyperion beat this book, but this book, if those 2 books didn't exist, this would be the best book ever made, in my opinion. And this is not even a long book. Now, you might be, I just went on 3 minutes rambling about one of my favorite novels, and I reread this. This is the only book I have ever actually read 2 times. I kid you not. Because this is just a short book. And I was reading it on the side just because I can't find the energy to read something new. Neuromancer is shorter than this, and I still haven't finished that. Dracula is same length as this, and I still haven't finished that. The Gunslinger, man. Holy crap. So this book is about in this alternate reality called Midworld. There's a gunslinger. His name is Roland Deschain. He's the last in the line of the gunslingers, which is a town of people in Midworld that is now gone. He is the last gunslinger on Earth. Well, not on Earth, on Midworld, and he's also the last gunslinger in his family. He's basically the king of the gunslingers because his dad was the king, and he's also the youngest gunslinger who ever got the title of gunslinger. But that's but he tells you that like later on. So this gunslinger is on one quest. It's on one quest. It's the greatest opening line ever written. He's just on one quest. The man in black fled across the desert, and the gunslinger followed. The first line tells you the main character, his goal, the main villain, his goal, the setting, and also the setting, which is also the obstacle of the novel. In the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 words in the first sentence. 12 words. Tells you what you need to know. But in this reality, he's following this man in black, who is a wizard of sorts. A wizard who he's known for a long time, as we'll come to know in the series. We don't know that yet. So anyways, so this wizard, he's trying to find him. He's trying to get this man in black. Now the man in black, he's on the run just because, this guy's after him, and he also doesn't like this guy because, this guy, they've been long enemies for a long time, longer than maybe even centuries, But the gunslinger's trying to track him just because he needs he has questions about this nexus of all things called the Dark Tower. The Dark Tower is this sort of nexus of everything in existence, and if it falls, basically every sin of the world, every sins of the worlds invade every world imaginable, every sin, monster, and everything perilous and evil, everything that comes from the space known as Todash darkness, which we find out in the mist. Todash space, Todash darkness. You'll see, because I'll tell you now, this whole series is connected to other Stephen King books. I didn't even know this when I was reading The Gunslinger the first time. But there's no references in The Gunslinger, so you're gonna understand this thing very well. It's the third book when stuff gets referenced morely. Everything, and they're all tied in. It's like some of the stuff is blatantly like sequels. Some of the this series is blatantly sequels to other books. But we don't know that, when you're reading at least. Because the main problem with King is that people are so used to like all his books being like separate things, but you don't know that you don't know that they're all connected unless you're looking deeper. Castle Rock is in like 5 books, and they even spoil the last book each time. Needful Springs like straight up just spoils everything, I believe. Cujo spoiled the Dead Zone. It's like full twist and everything. Yeah. Anyways, back on this book. So Roland, he's trying to get answers about this Dark Tower. He wants to know where it is. He's trying to find it just because, as we'll later come to know, he senses danger at this Dark Tower. He's been searching for this Dark Tower for basically his entire life. Since he was about 14, I believe. That's what it was in Wizard and Glass. But anyways, so he's searching for this Dark Tower, and along the way, and in the first chapter, we see he goes to this guy, and he tells someone this story that just happened in Toll. I'm not going to tell you what happened in that Toll town, but it's freaking crazy. And it also shows that he's quite ruthless, and he'll not let anything get in his way. Now, Roland Deschain, then meets a boy. A boy known as Jake Chambers. Now, Jake, he finds out was from our world, Earth. And he finds out that Jake was killed by a car on Earth, and he woke up in Midworld. So, basically, Jake died, and has come to this world. So, and then this really confuses them, but they get together and they go on their journey. Then they meet some witch and everything, and then they see this. This whole book is hard to explain, just because this whole book is mostly based on scenery and setting. This whole piece is based on setting. You see stuff, and they don't blatantly tell you stuff, but the mid-world in the past was kind of like our world, so so they make the point that mid-world is maybe like a future version of Earth. Yeah. You also see that the gunslinger, he's also really fast with his guns and everything, so yeah. And that's all I'm gonna say, just because I hate to break it to you, but if I say any more, that literally ruins the whole book. Now, this book is incredible. It was also adapted into a Marvel comic series called The Dark Tower The Gunslinger. Marvel Stephen King's The Dark Tower The Gunslinger, and which is a couple story arcs based on Little Sisters of Illyria, which is the short story direct prequel to this, and also The Gunslinger, of course. Now, Marvel Stephen King's The Dark Tower is you're not supposed to read it. You're not supposed to read it first from The Gunslinger. You're supposed to read it first from The Dark Tower, which is based on Wizard and Glass, the fourth friggin' book. And there's the third series, which is The Dark Tower, Marvel Stephen King's The Dark Tower, The Drawing of the Three, which is based on book 2. I only read the first volume of the series 1, and yeah. There's also a movie based on the series, loosely based on ideas from the series and scenes from the series, called The Dark Tower, which was by Sony. Actually, this is the movie tie-in cover, albeit the actual movie cover is actually this way. That's the movie cover. This is actually this is an upside down version of it. I saw the movie in the theater. That's actually what made me buy this book, because I actually really liked that movie. It was a fun action. It was a fun action movie, fun popcorn flick. Now I realize why people hate the movie, but it was a ride, you know. It was a ride to see. But overall, would I recommend this book? Yes, definitely, I recommend this book. It's not even that long. You can finish it in practically a couple sittings. You could finish it in you read 100 pages a day, or you can read it in 3 sittings. If you read more, then you can read it in 1 sitting. I'm not kidding. It's that fast to read. Now, I'm sorry that I can't give a more detailed explanation of the book, but this is all I'll give without spoiling the book. Now, yeah. There was going to be a TV show based on Wizard and Glass. Oh my god, Wizard and Glass. Why is everything based on Wizard and Glass? But anyways, there was going to be a TV show based on Wizard and Glass, but the pitch was actually quite cool, and it actually seemed like it was genuinely based on the series until they canceled it. Amazon canceled the Dark Tower series, and I think that was more in favor because they have the Lord of the Rings TV show coming up, and the Dark Tower movie was such critically panned that there will never be a Dark Tower TV show. That was a shame, honestly, because you'll never see an adaptation of such an amazing book. I mentioned there's a bunch of books in the series. Book 1 is The Gunslinger, which is this one. Book 2 is The Drawing of the Three. I read that. That's a good book. Book 3 is The Wastelands. That was a really good book. Book 4 is Wizard and Glass. Terrible. Book 5 is, there's also a short story I forgot to tell you, Little Sisters of Illyria. Book 5 is Wolves of the Calla. Never read it. I didn't read it. Song of Susanna, I didn't read. The Dark Tower, I didn't read. And The Wind Through the Keyhole, which is book 4.5, I didn't read. I didn't read books 5, 6, 7, 8, and the short story. I need to read those. Those are the last ones I need to read. But then again, I don't have the money to buy them at the moment. They are really hard to find in paperback nowadays. The last 4 books are hard to find in paperback. It's only in softcover and stuff like that, and I don't want to pay so much money for a softcover of a book I might not even like. And I'm really scared about those last books. I was told that Wolves of the Calla through the Dark Tower is really messy writing. But anyways, guys, that was my review of The Gunslinger, and I wish I could give a more review, but honestly, this is one of the best books ever made. I do think you. I do think it may be a better read if you read the books and if you read Stephen King's books in order. Maybe this might be a better read, like the series in general might be a better read if you read his books in order, or if you read these series last. That's the only advisory. You either read this series with the rest of the chronology, or you read the series last. Or you at least read the books before this one, and then before the next one, before you progress to each book. That is my only warning, because... And also, watch the movies, Wizard of Oz, search up, and also remember, also do some research on H.P. Lovecraft, flying snitches, and lightsabers. Those are the only, like, real movie and book literature references you need to know. Honestly, because, apparently this gets really out of hand as it goes on. Anyways, that was my review of The Dark Tower The Gunslinger, the first book in the Dark Tower series. Man, this is just a great read. I feel like I want to reread it again, honestly. It's a good book. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching.